Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of your favorite show, the Uncommon Wealth Podcast, where I'm your host, Phillip Ramsey.
And I'm Arron Cramer.
Thanks for tuning in. Today, we are talking about something that I know that is in a lot of people's minds, and it is how in the heck do you invest in a election year?
Oh my gosh.
Presidential election. Man, there is a lot of unrest. Biden tapped out, all those things.
Oh, yeah.
Trump is coming in hot. And it just seems like tensions are high. The pendulum keeps swinging very far both directions. And so I think that always caused for a little uneasiness in the markets, especially in election year. What would you think about
Especially now that with social media being so strong and everyone being so emotional about who they believe should be president. Mm-hmm. And, everyone's doomsday if it's not your guy.
Yeah, that's right. It's fascinating.
Or gal.
It's fascinating. Yeah, right. It's fascinating to me, just the emotions that play into this. And markets are emotional. So it doesn't, I guess, surprise me that people get a little hesitant to invest in an election year, or they maybe hold their breath a little bit. Yeah. So today we're talking about it. How do you do it? What's the history show? We got a really good piece from one of our vendors. And so we're just going to talk through kind of their findings. Arron and I haven't gone and done all this research. I just want to give credit where credit's due, But I do think it's fun just to talk about from an uncommon perspective, how to look at this, try to take the emotion out of it. And we're not huge components of set it and forget it. I think a lot of advisors say that. That could be, to me, that's like the worst advice. You should never forget where your money is. But I do think the arch principle of that is try to take the emotion out of it. And that's what our goal is here today in this podcast, is to try to take the emotion out of investing in an election year. So let's talk about the vendor that we got this from. And then it gives us eight pages. It actually is a really good piece, and you can find it online. So I just want to kind of address that, and then we can dive into it. Sound good, Arron?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay. So the first thing, so we got this from the Capital Group or American Funds. And it's just how do you invest in kind of the research in an investment in an election year. And I thought this first paragraph was cool, as presidential elections can be divisive and unsettling at times. The fate of the world seems to be hanging in the balance. But when it comes to investing, do elections really matter at all that much? U.S. voters will have their say, obviously, November 2024, but by maintaining a long-term focus, investors can position themselves for a brighter future, regardless of the outcomes of the voting booth. In fact, overreacting in a short-term volatility during election cycles can be determined or be detrimental to your investment returns. So that's kind of a little idea of what we're going to talk about. So they do start kind of walking out of high level. They did a 90-year investment data over 23 election cycle. And this is what the evidence shows if you take the emotion out. So here's what they learned. Arron, you can do the first one.
Yeah. So the U.S. stocks have trended up regardless whether a Republican or Democrat won the White House. So, and this isn't on this form, but this is a fun fact I learned a while back. When they look at what party was in presidential election, who had the better overall returns.
I did this once for our newsletter. Yes. I thought it was going to be totally Republicans, and it's Democrats.
It's Democrats, but by 0.1%.
That's right.
So it's nearly a tie.
It is.
So, to add to that, I want to make sure I say with this, I remember an old advisor, a very smart guy, telling me, he goes, and when I was newer, because I got all up in the arms about the election thing, and he goes, Arron, you got to think all these publicly traded companies, CEOs, and the teams, you think that they're probably a little bit smarter than our politicians and things. They're planning through whoever's going to be in office.
Yeah, that's true. They have their own goals, whether or not a Democrat or Republican gets in parties. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I have heard that overarching in an election year, it's majority positive. Like that's what I read. Remember when we did this at the beginning of the year, we were like, hey, let's predict what we think the S&P is. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we're coming up on that.
My sole reason for why I thought it was going to be positive was because we have an election year. So
yeah.
And again, it's like, I don't know who's going to be elected. I just know that normally in an election year, it is a positive swing.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause they try to ease up on things and policies. Cause, like the current party, if they can be reelected, which they can in this instance, like they're trying to do things better to make themselves look better.
Well, yeah, they always try to put lipstick on a pig at the end of like, look at everything's good. Everything's good. Vote me back in. So anyway, we'll have to go back to that. That's a fun thing. All right. The second thing is that they tend to be volatile before the election, but they bounce back right after. And this is from May 1st on. But stocks have returned 11.3% in the 12 months following primaries compared to 5.7% in similar periods of non-election years. So I think that just goes to show you, like, regardless of which president or which party gets elected, stocks tend to return well the first year of a presidential election. So that's interesting. I don't know. We're just giving you the facts.
Yeah, they're just fun things. It's nothing exciting, but like we always preach, the next finding that we found, big, discovery here is investors that get nervous and go to the sidelines during the election years, they don't tend to do as well. So
right,
because when you get back in and all those things,
that's right. But I say that's a real statistic that I see. Like there are people who are like, I don't know who's going to be elected until we do. I'm not going to invest in the market.
Yeah.
And it shows that that's not ideal. So
no, because it's like, I don't know. I'm a big believer. I know the president's important, but there's just a whole team behind him making decisions. It's just that one person isn't going to make and break something. Yeah.
No, I think that's truth. And I think the point that you made up at the beginning of like, hey, these companies don't just sit back and like, we need to take a break this year.
This guy's going to do horrible things. Even if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you think the ultra wealthy run the world or whatever, that's your big corporate America. So they're the ones funding these campaigns, and there's people on both aisles. So that's why to me, I'm like, the market's going to do what it does.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that there is some kind of excitement that comes with even like the party that's going to be there doing it another 4 years. There's an excitement level there. Then the other parties, there's an excitement level that says like, well, but if we get elected, then we can change this whole thing. So both parties are usually pretty excited, and that makes the bullish market. Okay. So let's talk about sectors, because we do some sector stuff in our portfolios.
I thought this piece was actually pretty interesting.
Right. And if anybody wants this piece, again, please text us at the podcast number, our feedback line, 515-446-8158. And we'll get you this document. We'd love to send this to you so you can actually read it all if you want. But it's a cool piece. It just says which sectors have done the best in election years. So go ahead, Arron.
Yeah. So it's going over the 1 year before the election and then 1 year after election, what sectors did the best and worst, And the one that stands out the most right off the bat when you look at it is energy. So 1 year after the election, energy just seems to do really well on average. But then financials comes in second.
Yep. It would be interesting to see what technology would do, because right now technology with AI is just going guns ablazes. But
and it's there too. So it's, I don't know. But then,
but the first one, you're right, is energy. The second one is financials. Shout out to the financial world out there.
I know. But then the year before, though, it's just kind of like across the board. It's just not anything crazy, as we were talking about. It just kind of stays pretty stagnant. But I guess consumer discretionary.
Yep.
Before, but yeah, it's a cool little piece. You see little sectors because we do take that stance. Like you can't ever like blow anything away. There's no silver bullet, but there is little tweaks and changes you can make to your portfolio to lean one way or the other,
right,
depending on what the market and the economy is doing.
Yep. So then the next piece, it just said which type of investors did the best in an election year, and they have basically three personas. The one that's fully vested that just keeps contributing and just keeps going. The person that just puts $1,000 for the first 10 months of kind of dollar cost averaging, and then the person that sits on the sideline. And the fully vested person that has $10,000 in January 1 has the most money at the end of this versus the one that dollar cost averaging at $1,000 every month for 10 months. And then the last one was the person who's sitting on the sideline, didn't have as much money. So in election year, it sounds like it's the best to have your money in it because studies show that it's actually a positive year. So that makes sense. You have more money longer to catch the run up. But I would say systematically, Arron and I believe that dollar cost averaging is your best bet to actually gain positivity in the market and gain return, just because you're buying low when the market's down, and then you get to contribute. And you just take the emotion out of it.
Yeah, even look at this. They're talking about a 1 year segment, and they're contributing over a 10-month time.
Yep.
The person doing that ends up $105 less in the market. That's 1 year. But they're starting with a lot less in the market, and they're catching up. They didn't end, but they didn't fall much behind.
Right. And again, this money is emotional. So we're talking about this it's not emotional, but it is. And that's why I think our charge is to try to how do you take the emotion out of it? So if there's anything you heard, here's the key takeaways when investing in an election year. One, I do think that there is chance for, like you said, headline news or Facebook, that, election results can be very volatile. They're going to be emotional. But results have shown that there's very little impact on long-term investors, no matter Republican or Democrat. So continue to invest, I think, is the play. So there's one key takeaway. What's the next?
Yeah. Markets have been more volatile during primary season, but tended to rise strongly thereafter. So volatility of the market can go up. But if you're someone that is, investing on a monthly basis or doing that dollar cost averaging, that's a good thing for you.
That's right. Good point. And then investors that sit on the sideline during election years because of their fear and uncertainty, that tends to be you can't win with that strategy, or rarely win with that strategy. So again, it just puts all this emotion into it. So you're just putting emotion in your money. Not a great combo.
Yep. And which leads straight into what we just got done talking about. It's investors who were fully invested or made monthly investments did better than those who stayed on the sidelines and cash. So
it doesn't, I don't know. It's not rocket science, but sometimes it is harder. Sometimes the easiest things, the most simple things, I think, is the hardest things to do. So,
yep. When we're talking about emotions, it's really hard. I don't know. Me and Phillip, we both like sugar and we like food. Think about that. It is so easy and common sense. Don't eat a lot of junk food, and you don't get fat.
Yeah.
But totally different when you put a cookie in front of my face,
When the pancakes are on the table.
Yeah, I get a little emotional and my mouth starts watering and you're like, whoa. Yeah.
That's good. So if you're stressed about where we're at in the market, hopefully this puts a little ease in your life. But reach out to us, give us feedback, reach out as an email. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, always being a listener. Thank you for devouring our content the way that you are. We really appreciate it. You've been listening to Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Phillip Ramsey.
And I'm Arron Cramer.
Till next time, take the emotion out of it and go invest uncommonly.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.